Okay, talking about the sprinkler system. Okay, there's really only a couple very important components, and there's one very important component. It's the main shutoff valve. This is the main feed coming from outside. Should you have a sprinkler leak, a head goes off, you have a problem with the sprinkler system, forget all the other valves. Shut this valve off. Right now, with this stem sticking out, that's telling you that the valve is in the open position. Once this stem goes into the valve and you no longer see it, that means the valve is shut off. So the easy way to identify the valve being shut off is if you were to close it, this would go into the valve, you would lose this. The face of this would be flush with the face of that. That would shut your entire sprinkler system down. That would stop the leaks. Now, you'd still have pressure on the system. So how would we get rid of the pressure on the system? You'd have to go to this valve that's over here. This is called the main drain. So you'd shut this guy off, you'd open this guy, and it would drain everything out of the sprinkler system. Once the system is drained, you'd close this, you would reopen the valve after you fix the head, and you would move on from there. Now, you have a series of valves that shut this down. You have the main valve, you have a secondary main valve, and then underneath each one of the alarm valve, this big black thing being the alarm valve, you have this main shutoff valve. They're all identified. Control valve, control valve, control valve. Even this one says main shutoff valve. This is considered the wet system. It's always got water in it 100% of the times, other than if you break your head. This valve shuts the alarm valve down. So on this sprinkler system, you have multiple valves. 1 valve, 2 valve, 3 valve. On the dry system, you have another one. All of the red handle valves that you see here are main drains. There's one on the wet system, there's one on the dry system. So, you would know if you had water running. First of all, you'd see the water running into the building, and then your gauges also tell you because they flutter. Whenever you have you have a leak in the system, you see the gauges, they flutter. Right now they're fixed, they're standing rigid, and the needle's not moving. So you know that the system's full of water, you're tight, you're good to go. Now we're going to swing over to what we call the dry system. Okay, now we're going to talk about the dry valve system. Spoke about the wet valve, spoke about the incoming valves. This is called the dry valve system, very important. Dry valve means in this pipe that's up above, there's never any water. It's filled with air. The only time you're going to get water is when a head breaks. So, being it's a dry valve, this thing never has any water above the bottom of the alarm valve. Now, God forbid you ever lose a head up in the attic area where the dry valve is serving, this line will fill with water, and you'll know because you'll see the gauges will equal out top, bottom. Right now you can see on this gauge you're probably at about 25, on this gauge you're down a little bit less than that. The air compressor is what runs and keeps air in the system. Should you come down here and you hear this constantly running, that means you lost a head in the attic, that means you got a leak, one of the heads let go. It doesn't happen a lot, it does happen though. What happens is, once again, should that happen, you want to shut this main valve off, which says control valve. It keeps the water from going up into the dry valve. Open up this red handle again, which says main drain. Drain the system. You pull this cover off, 6 bolts. Pull the cover off. There's a metal clapper that will open. That's what allowed the water to run through. You got to unhinge it, put it back down. This is called the cup filler. You got to put 1.5 gallons of water with this valve in the open position into here. Once that's into here, this valve is still in the closed position. Once you put that 1.5 gallons water inside of here, you turn the air compressor back on. What it does is it compresses the water against the clapper and it fills all this pipe with air. Once it fills and it shuts off, you'll know it's holding. That means you're good to go, you're sound. Now you can slowly open this valve. If you slowly open this valve and you don't hear a gust of water, that means your system's back to normal. What I'm going to say, like I say to everybody, even though you got a 1-year warranty, I don't work like that. Whether it's 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you got a problem, you call me up and you say, Billy, we got a problem down there. I have no problem coming down here and taking care of what needs to be done. You also have the maintenance company that does your service work over here. They're a very good company. I know approved a long time. They're very good with dry systems. They're very good with wet systems. But I don't walk away from any of my jobs. So you have a problem, you call me. Dry valves are there's a lot of maintenance to these systems. It's not the system that you'd want your standard guy to come in here and mess with. It's just a lot of work with these things. A wet system's easy. It's always got water in it. If there's a leak, you shut it off, you change the head, you turn the water back on, it fills it, and you got no headaches. Dry systems are a maintenance animal. There's just a lot of work involved. You got pressure switches on either side. You got a high and a low. It's to sense the pressure in the top of the alarm valve, which, God forbid, you should lose pressure. What will happen is not only will you get the air compressor running, cycling constantly, but you'll get an alarm back to your control panel. So if you ever get an alarm in that main control panel, the first thing you want to look at is the dry system. That's usually the thing that trips first. On the wet system, you have this red box, it's called a flow switch. If the water travels through and clicks that paddle in that flow switch, that means that's what tripped. But if you go to your panel right away, what I tell everybody, no matter what, forget the alarms, shut the valve off. First thing you do is if you get an alarm, don't go to the panel, go right to the valve. Shut the main valve off. Kill the system. Keep all the water from running into the building. What it's going to do is it's going to keep the damage down. So you get an alarm, kill the main drain. Don't kill this one, kill this one. Kill the main drain because it kills everything. Then go to your panel and see which one tripped. It could be the wet, it could be the dry, it could be the wet. Then after that, you know what you got to do from there. So pretty much it's everything in a nutshell. Pressure switches, main drain, control valve for the wet, control valve for the dry, control valve for the wet. Main shut-off valves, you have two of them.
Why is this?
Why is what?
Why is that so we can't turn it again?
Somebody clipped these. I don't know. I didn't do that actually. It was probably approved. He did that so nobody came in here to shut the air off to the compressor. That's why he did that. This is actually the feed coming into the top of the valve. You'll get somebody that don't know these systems and they'll come down here and they'll close one of these valves. Now you got no air because you gotta remember, here's your air compressor, here's the feed going into it. This is the feed going into the air compressor. So that's why he put a plastic on there. Okay. So some guy doesn't by mistake come down here and shut that off.
Got it.
The same reason why this handle is off of this through the winter, because I don't want anybody touching.
And someone turned that off once too.
That's why they put this alligator clip on here.
Okay.
And that's your shut-off switch to your air compressor.
Right. Yep, got it.
Like I said, between approved and us, listen to me. I don't walk away from any of my jobs. You have a situation, if you can't get approved, call me, I'll come down here. Listen, I'm in East Setauket, takes me an hour to get in here. The most important thing to do in that hour, if there's a problem, shut that valve off.
Okay.
Shut that valve off and open these guys.
Okay. And it'll drain.
This way it drains everything. Because 9 out of 10 people, they hear an alarm, they don't know what to do. So the first thing I tell everybody, forget the alarm panel, it doesn't mean anything. Kill that, open these, drain it.
Okay.
You know what? Let's say it was this one that tripped and not that one. When you open that, it released the air. Who cares? I'll reset it. But it's better to be safe than sorry.
Than have water pouring out.
That's the safest, is killing the main drain.